Before Detroit built cars, before railroads crisscrossed the Midwest, and before Michigan was even called Michigan, this land was sacred. Carved with petroglyphs, traded through copper, guarded by warriors. It was home to ancient tribes, great migrations, colonial clashes, and industrial revolutions. It's a story of empires and explosions, factories and freedom. This isn't just a state, it's a reflection of American ambition and its scars. This is the untold history of Michigan. Michigan, the Great Lakes state, bordered by Canada, shaped by water, and known around the world for one word: Detroit. But long before Motor City roared to life, Michigan's past was written in stone, blood, and steel. Its hoppy forests hid copper veins. Its lakes carried tribes and trade. And its soils soaked up the battles that would shape a continent. From prehistoric mound builders to French missionaries, from Pontiac's rebellion to the Underground Railroad, from timber tycoons to assembly line legends, Michigan's story is uniquely American. This is the sweeping journey of a land that changed with every age, yet never lost its spirit. Part 1: Ancestors of the Lakes, Michigan before America. Thousands of years before statehood, Michigan was alive with movement. The Paleo-Indians were the first, nomads tracking game and settling near the abundant waterways. Then came the forest cultures, living along the Great Lakes and river systems, relying on fishing, farming, and copper working. They mined high-purity copper in the Upper Peninsula, shaping tools, weapons, and trade. From 1000 BC to 100 AD, Michigan was part of the Hopewell Trade Network, a vast system connecting the Mississippi to the Great Lakes. They built mounds, carved petroglyphs, and passed stories through stone. By 1500, complex migrations brought the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, and Miami tribes into the region. These weren't just settlements, they were sovereign nations, deeply tied to the land, water, and sky. Part 2: First Contact, the French come north. The first European to step foot in Michigan wasn't a conqueror. He was a cultural bridge. Etienne Brulé, a Frenchman fluent in Huron language and customs, explored the region in the early 1600s. He mapped the lakes, he learned the land, and he died mysteriously among the very people he called kin. But Brulé opened the floodgates. The fur trade exploded, beaver pelts became currency, and Michigan's forests became battlegrounds of commerce. France built trading posts and missions, the first at Sault Ste. Marie, followed by a fort at Detroit in 1701. But the French didn't conquer. They traded, converted, and moved lightly. That would change. Part 3: Clash of Empires. French fall, Britain rises. By the mid-1700s, France and Britain were locked in a global power struggle, and Michigan was caught in the crossfire. The French and Indian War, 1754-1763, saw native tribes fighting on both sides. When it ended, France lost nearly all its American territories. The British took over and quickly made enemies. Gone was the respectful diplomacy. In came restriction, taxation, and arrogance. This led to Pontiac's War, a native rebellion led by the Odawa chief, furious at British betrayal. It foreshadowed decades of unrest and rebellion. Michigan, once a hub of trade, was becoming a fortress of resistance. Part 4: America claims the Northwest. In 1783, with the Treaty of Paris, the U.S. gained Michigan, at least on paper. But in reality, native tribes refused to yield and British forts remained operational. This led to the Northwest Indian War, where a confederacy under Shawnee Chief Blue Jacket fought U.S. forces to a standstill. At St. Clair's defeat, nearly 1,000 U.S. soldiers were wiped out. It was the worst loss to native forces in U.S. history. But by 1795, after the Battle of Fallen Timbers, native resistance was crushed. America had taken Michigan, but the scars of conquest would linger. Part 5: Settlement, Statehood, and Strife. After suppression of native resistance, settlers poured in, mostly from New England. By 1833, Michigan had enough population to apply for statehood. But a bizarre boundary dispute with Ohio over the Toledo Strip delayed statehood until 1837. As compensation, Michigan was granted the Upper Peninsula, a land rich in copper, iron, and timber. The timing was perfect. As the Industrial Revolution dawned, Michigan had resources, rivers, and ambition. It wasn't just land that was valuable. It was what lay beneath it. Part 6. Lumber, Minerals, and Mechanization. By the mid-1800s, Michigan's forests became gold mines. It was supplying 25% of America's timber, fueling railroads, ships, and cities. Meanwhile, copper and iron mining exploded, especially in the Upper Peninsula. A canal system linked resources to markets. Railroads snaked across the state. Farming flourished. Michigan became a wheat powerhouse, while also experimenting with fruit and celery agriculture. It was a state in motion, and its next chapter would change the world. Part 7. The Auto Age begins. It began with Ransom Olds, a Lansing-based entrepreneur. But it was Henry Ford who redefined everything. From his Detroit factory, Ford released the Model T in 1908. Cheap, durable, and revolutionary, the car wasn't just a vehicle, it was a symbol. Using assembly line production, Ford could sell cars at unmatched speed and affordability. Detroit boomed. By 1940, 60% of the world's cars were made in Michigan. The Motor City had arrived. Part 8. War, Migration, and a New America. World War II transformed Michigan again. Civilian auto production ceased in 1942. Factories turned to tanks and bombers. Over 25,000 tanks and 8,500 B-24 bombers rolled off Michigan lines. Detroit became the arsenal of democracy. At the same time, the Great Migration saw thousands of African Americans move north, seeking jobs and justice. But the influx ignited racial tensions, culminating in the Detroit Riot of 1967, one of the most violent in U.S. history. Still, the post-war years brought prosperity, a booming middle class, suburban growth, and national pride. Part 9. Crisis, Collapse, and Rebirth. But by the 1970s, the tide turned. Auto jobs left for cheaper markets. Factories closed. Entire neighborhoods emptied. By 2013, Detroit filed for bankruptcy, the largest municipal collapse in U.S. history. Yet out of the wreckage came rebirth. Tech startups, tourism, green industry, creative arts, and a slow but steady return to pride. Michigan, once again, was rebuilding. From prehistoric petroglyphs to mass-produced Mustangs, Michigan has lived many lives. It has been a homeland of ancient tribes, a crossroads of empires, a forge of rebellion, a factory of dreams, and a battleground of change. Michigan is not just a state, it's a symbol of rise, fall, and rise again. A living reflection of American resilience, ingenuity, and transformation. And its story is still being written.